initial impressions of the Hamilton Khaki mechanical manual wind. So actually made this out of two of them. One had a bunch of pivots broken in the movement, had a bunch of issues, and then another one that this case and some of the movement are from just got dunked in a hot tub. So the guy wore it in the hot tub all the time, and so it had some water damage in it. But this one, the other one was the black dial, which is pretty typical, and this one is the green dial. It's kind of a darker, a more muted navy green. So let's see, put it on. Put it on a black bison strap, which it looks pretty snazzy on there. One thing that I'd say, the lug to lug is a bit long, making the sides a little weird, but for the most part, for 38 millimeters, it doesn't wear 38, I'd say, just because the lug to lug, but overall, otherwise, it's a pretty decent watch. Being the manual wind, it's got, but it's got the ETA 2804-2 movement in it, and when I got it, neither one was not running at all, and the other one was running really poorly because it was really dirty from whatever hot tub chemicals are in there. But let's see, pop it open, and you can see in there it's cleaned up quite a bit. I've got it running with a 300 plus amplitude, like 306. I think in all positions the variation is 278 to 306 or 308. And so I think dial up it was 304, 305, something like that. Dial down was, I think, where it was 308. And then in the crown down, it was running 280 something, 286. Crown left was where it was running worst at first. I think the oil just needed to work its way through the jewel cap. So I think that jewel oil just needed to work its way through, but it was started running like 240, 250, but it worked its way up back to 276 or so, and then crown right was 286, I think, something like that. So it was running pretty well in all 6 positions. I was pretty impressed with it because I know these ETA, especially the manual wind, you'll sometimes get a bit more amplitude than the 2824, 2836, but I was genuinely impressed I could get it running that well. And you can see there alone, it just is, you can see how well the balance wheel is moving nice and freely. It is a snazzy watch. I would say some ways it's seems so overdone since so many people have the watch, but it's not necessarily a bad thing that it is so popular, because these were the 2 I got. One was abandoned by the guy who got it in the hot tub. He realized it was going to be more than it was worth to fix. And then the one with the broken pivots, he as well just we'd have to ship it back to him. He didn't want it fixed, and we'd have to ship it back, and so it was not worthwhile to ship it back. But I would say that I've left it no whine for almost 2 days, and it's still been running. So I'd say with that 48-hour power reserve, something like that, is pretty accurate. Still gotta figure out which hole. Yeah, I think the drilled through lugs are a nice feature. This is nice for quick change in the strap. I would say the lack of screw down crown kind of screwed that guy with the hot tub, but it is something you just have to be aware of with a lot of these manual wind where they're not going to have a screw down crown. Dial color, let me see if I can capture it in better light. It's kind of funky. Let's see. Slight catch, yeah, it catches a little better. You can see it's kind of a matte green. And I would say it's something more interesting than just the black. So that's kind of a nice thing about it, and that's where I chose to go with that dial, since I kind of had the pick between the two. I know some people not big fans of manual wind watches. I don't wear a lot of manual wind just because I will inevitably forget to wind it, but it is a smooth wind as you're gonna expect with an ETA caliber like that. It's all wound up now, but yeah, the profile of it, it's fairly slim. Kind of to the nature of it being a manual wind, because the 2824 still a skinny movement, but you're adding the auto works on the back to make it a bit thicker. Overall, I've only worn it 3 or 4 days now since I've gotten it all fixed up, and I have been fairly impressed. It's kept really good time. I was able to get it all regulated in so that it was running at, I don't know, it's running a little fast, which I could still kind of knock the regulator arm a bit, but I think it really is within +8 or +12 or something like that. So really not too bad. And I think with all positions, it was, the beat error was between 0.1 and I think it got up to 0.3, and maybe in that bad position, and it with the 6 up, the crown right. And then the rate was pretty tight within all those too, which I was pretty impressed about, because it's obviously a lot of people regulate for dial up, dial down, whatever is convenient to work on the time grapher, but it really is important to get stuff regulated in at least into 5 positions, if not 6. And so I'm gonna make sure you got dial up, dial down, and then crown down, crown right, crown left, crown up. And then crown up often is kind of one of the worst, just because how often are you holding your hand up above your head where the crown is sticking up? But it's a pretty solid watch. I kind of was always a little hesitant about it. I thought it looked cool, but then the lug to lug, I should measure that because I don't know off the top of my head, but it's fairly long watch. And so what do I have, a 6.5, 6 3/4 wrists, and so it is going to look a little big and goofy, but it ended up working out quite well. So I don't know, for $600, I think you can buy them on sale for $400. I'd say it's probably worth closer to that. I'm happy with the free price But if you had to pay $400, I'd say it's definitely a strong contender. It would beat a lot of Seikos in that price range to my mind. You could get some other nice watches for that price range, but it's kind of a tough spot. That 400 to 600 is probably one of the most competitive, but you worry that a lot of them is down to marketing and such, which for the whole watch industry it really is. But that's kind of my initial impressions, and maybe after I usually wear my Explorer, so something a little smaller, and you can see the difference in the lug to lug there. It's so much longer. It really is. But that's, I guess I wear a field watch as a daily. I do think that the curved crystal, it doesn't hurt to have a date. It's kind of nice. I'm used to not having a date, so it's not really all that important to me, but it is nice having a little date window there. And the curved sapphire crystal is kind of nice, especially on a watch that price. I'd say for the most part it has more features than a lot of watches that price point, or at least more quality features, how they're implemented. And I guess the bead blasted or sand blasted case finish is pretty cool. I'm used to brushed with some high polish, so having something that's kind of toned down, this is a different look for me. But man, having a black dial, I already wear a black dial every day, so mixing up with the green, it's a look. So yes, just wanted to give some first impression. I'm sure everyone who has anything they want to think about it, they've already done all their research, but if it helps anyone,